Hey everybody, welcome back. This is the second video of the Getting Started series, and today we're going to talk a little bit about seeds versus plants because they have their advantages and disadvantages, and some people are intimidated by planting from seed and want to start out with plants that you buy somewhere and they're already, not dead and all that kind of good stuff. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk a little bit about where to get those. And when we get into seeds, we'll talk a little bit about the different types of seeds that you'll see as well. So first thing you got to decide is, now that you've gotten everything sort of figured out as far as what you want to plant and why, and you've scoped out your area to get ready later, you need to decide whether you're going to buy seeds and plant from seed, or if you're going to buy plants that have already sprouted or matured a little bit and then transplant them into your garden. So seeds is obviously one of the more available options. They're everywhere. Everywhere you go, you can find in a seed packet. And that's one of the advantages, is that you can find seeds just about anywhere. They're cheaper, a whole lot cheaper to grow from seed than it is to buy the plant of that same variety. And there's also many varieties. Just about anything you can think of, you can get seeds for. Now, the downside to that is that it does take a lot longer because you're starting from the beginning. You're not getting something that's already been growing for a little while from someone else. So that might be something that you need to take into consideration. But there's also a sense of accomplishment as well. So those of you that like that challenge and like to see things through from beginning to end, this is kind of going to be something that's attractive to you, because you're going to need that feeling of accomplishment, that you've done it from the beginning, from the get-go. Seeds are a little bit harder, I've been told. I don't know. Sometimes things I plant die, and sometimes they don't, and it doesn't really matter if I start from seed or plant, but I've been told that it is harder to grow from seed than it is to grow from plants, because there are certain seeds that need certain things, such as some of them you may have to soak before you can plant them, and different things like that. So that's the pros and cons of doing the whole seed thing. Now, if you would rather buy plants, and this is what my friends have done lately, because we have a very short growing season here. Where I moved from had a very long growing season. They have already started planting things. They already have things coming out of the ground, and they will be harvesting things pretty soon. We don't even start planting in my zone until we're supposed to, and I keep being told by all the old timers to wait until Mother's Day. After Mother's Day is when you can plant. So unless you have a greenhouse or some way to start seeds inside, sometimes plants that have already been started somewhere else that you can buy might be your better option here. It's also a better option for beginners, because pros, it's a lot easier. You don't have to start from scratch. It's already there. You know it's a viable plant. And it's also faster. You haven't started from the very beginning with the seeds. You've already gotten some of that growing under your belt without having to do the work yourself. You simply take them and transplant them to where you want them to be. Now, one of the downsides to that is that there are less varieties. You can buy seeds of just about anything, versus plants are going to be the more popular things. Tomatoes. Everybody wants to grow tomatoes, so you can probably find tomato plants all day long. So the shorter growing seasons and beginner gardeners might want to start with plants that are already been grown a little bit and transplant them, just for the ease, the ability to take use of that shorter growing season and kind of experiment and see what you can and can't do, what works, what doesn't, and get all of that kind of out of the way before you decide to start from seed. So that's kind of the breakdown between the pros and cons of the seeds versus plants. Now let's talk about where to get these. You can get plants from your local nursery, your co-op, hardware stores. A lot of times local hardware stores will carry plants as well as seeds, and those happen to be usually the very local variety. So if you're looking for something that you know will grow in your area, your local hardware store, your local nursery, your local co-op, They're going to know because they are from that area. They are growing those plants in that area. Friends and neighbors, ask them. A lot of times they will give you cuttings, they will give you seeds, they will give you extra plants, especially from things like irises that have to be separated every so many years, or they will overtake everything. They will be more than happy to dig some up and give them to you. So that's another way to get plants. Farmers markets are also another way, especially if they are local. Again, they're going to have those local plants. And some places have plant swaps. So look online. Look at the meetup places to see if anyone has a plant swap going on. Box stores, such as like Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, places like that, will also have plants, depending on what time of year and season it is. Those, I'm not sure where they come from. You don't really know what's going on with them. I would look them over before you take them home and make sure they're nice and healthy. But then again, you know, if you're just trying and starting out for the first time, why not? It's a very inexpensive way to go get what you need just to see if it will work before you invest in something more expensive and more elaborate. Look on social media and online stores. There are online stores all over the place that will sell plants, even trees. I found the other day that I could order trees online, apparently, but also social media, places that have different marketplaces and things like that. A lot of times you will find that as well. That's where I got my garlic last year. I was actually on Facebook Marketplace and found a local farmer who was selling what they had extra overflow of garlic. And now I have garlic coming up. Foraging is another way. I love to forage. Make sure you're on either your own property or property that you have permission to be on, obviously. But that's how I get my bee balm, which my hummingbirds absolutely love. It grows wild on the mountain I live on. So whenever a patch pops up somewhere, I simply dig it up and transplant it to where I want it to be at. That is a very free, cheap, easy, quick way to get things started. They've already been growing, you know where they're at, and you know where they're taking them, and it's absolutely free, just your labor. Also, check your local schools, your local high schools. FFA, Future Farmers of America, if your high school has a chapter of that, or even some middle schools, a lot of times they will have plant sales throughout the year. Anything from plants for garden to eat, and a lot of times, especially around Mother's Day and Easter and things like that, they will have sales of the large, beautiful hanging baskets. You can plant those as well, so make sure you keep in touch with your local FFA chapter at your high school. That could help as well. Now, where to get seeds? All of the places I just mentioned about getting plants, you can also more than likely get seeds from. In addition to that, there are seed catalogs, like you'll see here. I think every company under the sun has a seed catalog. I don't necessarily use one over the other. I've tried several of them. I'm still trying to add new ones to my collection to see what I like and what I don't like. So these guys are all over the place. A lot of times if you find any online place, they'll have their own seed catalog that they'll send you for free. Some of them you have to pay for, but a lot of them will do it for free. Also, community gardens and food banks. So if you have a community garden, a lot of times the people there will either give you plants, extra plants, or seeds from their plants, especially if they're planting a garden for their own sustainability. More than likely they're seed saving, which we'll talk about in a different video, and they will have seeds from their previous year or the upcoming crop. Once they get everything that they need, what's left over, they'll be more than happy to share. Also, that goes the same for the food banks. A lot of food banks will give out seed packets. We have one here that has a program called Plant an Extra Row. So they will give you seeds of things that they know that they use in their kitchen, and they will give it to you for free. All they ask is that you plant an extra row in your garden of these things, and then once they are mature and you harvest them, that you bring some of that to the food bank so that they may use it in their kitchen as well. 4-H events. I don't know if you guys are familiar. A lot of our kiddos, especially the ones who are already involved in the FFA, are probably involved in 4-H or vice versa. In the local ag extension offices, sometimes those places will have seeds that they will be able to give you. Sometimes they will sell them. More than likely they will give them out. And then you have your own stash. Again, we talked about seed saving earlier, and that's one of the things you will get into as you plant and as your garden matures or your flowers mature, and you're able to collect seeds from them and save them for the coming year. If self-sustainability is kind of what you're going for, then once you get to the point that you know you're growing very well, then you can start saving those seeds and not buying seeds or plants, that you are continuously using what you already have, which is free every year after a certain point.